That was an abnormally long
at the end.
It was an
stinger.
abnormally long episode.
Right. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about episode 5 of The Acolyte. It was in effect one long fight sequence. Some people are hailing it as the greatest fight they have ever seen. Those individuals are morons, and they are 12 because it's bad. It's bad fights. I've seen much better fights from toddlers. We get the reveal that's not a reveal, of course. Asian Ezra Miller is the Sith. He even confirms he's a Sith, and then everyone's still trying to piss themselves online and go, "He's not actually a Sith. He didn't say he was a Sith." Yeah, he's confirmed he's a Sith. Shut the fuck up. Yep. He wears cortosis armor that shorts out lightsabers, which I'd never heard of before, and I'm sure, like everyone else, was probably like, "What the piss is this? This is lame."
Same. You know, unless you read the comics or the books, you know, people were lost on what was happening. They explained it never in the episode.
Yeah. I just think it's bad. It's just bad. It's bad. It was a bad episode. Kills 8 Jedi. It runs around, kills 8 Jedi, kills Jekki, kills Yord. So the Yord horde, all 12 of those fans.
Those were the 2 best moments in the episode for me when those 2 died. I cheered. I was actually happy.
You didn't like Stabby McLesbian Girl?
I could not care less about any of these characters, these things. I don't think anyone cared about these characters for that reason, because they didn't develop them. So who cared?
No.
No emotional she gets a lightsaber haircut. What piss was that? It's like a lightsaber haircut.
Yeah.
Reshoots were pretty obvious, I think, in this as well, because they go from like one forest bit to immediately like a cliff face, and it's kind of like all over the place. She stops Sol from killing the Sith, but then tries to kill him. I'm going to let you talk about it, Nick. I thought this episode was super lame. What did you think?
So, to be fair, I thought this was the worst episode of the series so far.
Nick's giving it something positive. We're gonna have to kick you from the podcast.
No. Let me finish. I thought this was the worst episode. There was some moments in some scenes that I actually thought were cool, that I actually liked. Like when he stabbed the one Jedi, then force pulled the other one and make like the Jedi kebab. Like I thought that was a cool kill. You know, when he pulled out the little lightsaber shank from the other end, and then shanked her 3 times. And then he was kind of standing there. I thought that was cool. I thought his performance was one of the better performances, acting wise, out of any of the actors in the entire show in this episode. But with that said, this whole episode was surrounded by nonsense, stupidity, bad directing, bad editing, bad acting on other actors in their performances, and basically what you were left with was basically visual noise, and that was pretty much it. You got the flashy lights, the combat and stuff, which a lot of people are saying was the best I'd ever seen. Was it the best I ever saw? No. Were there some moments during the fights where I was like, oh, that was cool? Yeah, there were a couple of those. But all in all, this is still a bad episode. There wasn't enough in this to save the show, and there wasn't enough in it to even save the episode. So some of the I'll just point out the 3 my top 3 dumbest things that happened in this episode. 1, where was Sol throughout this episode? He was, I guess, taking a potty break somewhere or on lunch when all this fighting and stuff was going on, and then he would just appear out of nowhere and show up and save somebody right in the nick of time, and then he would disappear again. and you didn't see him, and then he would appear again out of nowhere, right in the nick of time to save somebody.
Those Jedi mind tricks, mate.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening here?
How
This
does
is dumb.
how does cortosis stop Jedi's reading minds?
Yeah, and that was yeah. Yeah, the Magneto helmet. He now has a Magneto helmet. No, Charles, you will not get into my head. So that was dumb. You know, I never they introduced the whole mind reading thing with the sequel trilogy. And people will argue that Vader did that with Luke in Return of the Jedi, but the thing is, he was sensing his thoughts and his emotions because they were so strong and they were projecting off of him. It's not like he was getting to his mind, you know, like he was searching through a file cabinet into his brain, going, "All right, what information can I get here?" You know, it was never portrayed that way. So this ability for Jedi to just be able to, you know, read your mind in your thoughts just doesn't make sense. But they go with it, and then at the end, after we get the Jedi lightsaber haircut, and she switches clothes with Osha, she has no helmet on, but he doesn't know that that's not Osha.
Well, I'm just going to stop you there. It's not just that, right? So you're right. Osha may change it. May cuts her hair. The evil twin cuts her hair, changes clothes with Osha to then get on the ship with Sol. She's not wearing a mask. She's not wearing a helmet. Yeah, Sol could read her mind. I'm sure he could probably sense stuff. Sure, right? That is absolutely justified, absolutely nonsense. That's not even the biggest thing. Did you forget earlier in the episode, May was like, I don't want to murder any Jedi now. I'm just going to be with my sister.
Be my next point. Yeah,
no, I want to murder. What? Sorry, you schizophrenic bitch. What you want about?
Yeah.
You suddenly turn myself in. What happened last episode? What are you doing?
Yeah, God. And then all of a sudden she wants to kill him again. You know, when Jackie comes in and she's trying to arrest her, she should have been like, "Hey, I'm wanting to turn myself in. I got some information you guys want to have. I'm not fighting you. I just want to, you know, be with my sister, and I don't want to be with my master anymore, and any of that stuff, and basically give herself up." But no, she's trying to kill him and fight with him again, and now she's back in the mode. It's just like a light switch. I guess she's bipolar. Maybe she struggles from being bipolar or something, and just like flips a switch in her brain and is one way 1 second, another way another minute. So yeah, that part was really dumb as well. And I think those were the three dumbest things in the episode for me, which there was a lot. I mean, there's a whole list of dumb shit that happened in this episode. But those are definitely my top three right there.
What about you, Culture? Let's get your review.
Oh wow. This thing was garbage. Ketosis or any of the other things that the magical bullshit that they put in there was incredibly infuriating. I was bored in the greatest lightsaber battle ever. They stole a lot. I mean, I've heard people say that they put the Parent Trap in here, and that's true. But they also did like Harry Potter apparating around the map, because like Manny Jacinto's character Kimir was able to like just like show up where he needed to be when he needed to be, and he was able to like piss off like immediately when he'd do a hit and then he was gone. You know, it was like, okay, well, now we've got Harry Potter in here, and then a lot of other things that make little sense, but at least we know how many sticks it takes to get to the center of a demon-headed little child. Three. But that's how you kill women in Star Wars. Now you have to hit them 3 times with a lightsaber.
Oh yeah,
good.
Yeah, because lightsabers now kill people again.
Yeah. Only maybe like the mini lightsabers. I mean, it was like the flashlight you put on your firearm.
No, he used the big lightsaber and sliced someone's belly open. They died as well.
Yeah, and what's really weird is they got really concerned with showing people being not having their head around anymore, because that happened behind a tree. But look, I mean, the scene was incredibly dark, and they made it as dark as they could because, well, reasons, and those reasons are we don't want to show you just how bad this lightsaber duel looks. It was
That was the brightest nighttime I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if anyone's ever gone in the woods at nighttime, but you can't see shit. So I don't know where the light was coming from.
Well, the light was, okay to about your shoulders, and then below that, all of a sudden it was just dark, and you got to see stabby McLight beams, and that was it.
Yeah.
But look, the fighting is the least of the problems, although it is a significant problem. None of the things that were happening were ever explained. No audience member had ever seen ketosis stopping things, and like there were times when there was no ketosis anywhere around. It's like, it was just like, hey, you don't get to have your lightsaber now. You two take a nap. I'm busy with this other person, and it's like, there were moments that I'm like going, okay, and why are they not attacking him in other ways? Why aren't they using their force powers? And I'm like,
not
you
only
guys
that,
go
not
ahead.
only that, when Osha stops Sol, she's like, "Oh, the Jedi don't fight unarmed people." He's got the Force. You fool! He's never unarmed.
Well, and he also does force foo. There was so much nonsense in here, and I actually cheered when Yord got yeeted.
Same.
So there's that. But it took him a long time to finally succumb to his leg injury that he was able to not just waddle away from, but eventually sprint. I'm like, dude, some of your leg isn't working. Like those muscles, they ain't there no more.
Cauterized, mate.
Yeah. So that ain't gonna work, bro. I mean, there was a whole lot of like moments like that. I'm like, oh, come on, no, really. Anyway, aside from all of that, the parent trap, sister swap thing, don't care. I mean, but I don't understand why hair doesn't light on fire and stone does. Somebody needs to explain that to me.
Oh, this is true. In space.
Yeah,
well, there's fire in space. That's something.
Yeah, it's a little physics problem. Yeah, I think somebody talks about that later in something we're going to talk about. But look, some of the stuff that bothers me here is just the complete disarray that Star Wars is in now, because there's no continuity, there's no canon, there's nothing that you can like cling to, which is why I've been saying this is really just what do you call it? Disney Star Wars in name only. Yeah. Well, no, it's Tumblr fiction. It's worse than fan fiction. It's coming straight out of Tumblr, because, while they didn't give us an actual, seamstress scene, they certainly, alluded to it and continued to allude to it throughout. But at least all the red shirts are dead, and that made me happy.
We all knew that they were going to die. Like who are these guys? Oh, yeah. I get it. They're all going to die.
Yeah, stabby Mick cannon fodder.
Yeah,
but anyway,
everything's so predictable in this. And let me go back on the Cortosis ore thing. When the Mandalorian dropped and they brought the Beskar armor in that, they talked about it and explained it and how it can it's one of the only materials that can deflect a lightsaber and that sort of thing. There was no explanation of this Cortosis or thing whatsoever. They literally could have had two sentences in there during the fight, where one of the Jedi's like, his helmet's made out of Cortosis ore, like don't hit it with your blades, it'll short them out and disable them, for a short period of time.
Don't you want to buy your own?
That would make too much sense, though.
Don't you want to buy your own because they've made it?
Nobody's gonna buy that.
Yeah, they haven't even made it. This is a 3D render. They've not actually made one yet.
Oh, HasLab. I thought they had already started producing them.
No, look at that. It's a 3D render. It's a digital render image. Final product may vary. So they're advertising a product that they've not even made yet.
Yeah. And I
From
guarantee
Hasbro,
you it'll
everyone.
be just like Reva's lightsaber. They won't
Doesn't
get enough
Smilo's
orders.
doesn't Smilo's smile look like an old discarded telephone wire?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty
it
much.
does.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
I
don't,
was
I don't understand what they're thinking.
well, they were
Anyway.
thinking, hey, we need to make some money.
There's our
They didn't make no
review
money off anything from this show.
of the
No.
Acolyte episode 5, ladies and gents. That's our review. We got some super chats about this. So we got one from Horseradish Power, super chat $2.53 over on Streamlabs, and he says, "This Acolyte talk has given me a headache. Velma makes more sense. I'd rather rewatch Dune 2 with that annoying Bint Zendaya. Actually, why isn't she in this tripe? She gets everywhere else. Maybe she's too busy in the desert riding enormous worms."
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Tickle Trunks, super chatted $5 on Streamlabs, says, "In episode 5 of The Acolyte, I get the buzz. Dumb characters talked less. And be fair to the guy who said episode 5 was the best lightsaber fight in history. He was recently bitten by a radioactive cat and says the same thing about laser pointers."
That's funny. Wow. Well done, Mr. TT.
Oh,
Goodness.
that's brilliant.